Welcome and thank you for tuning in today as we zoom in on the Jags. I'm Dr. Jeff Sherman from the School of Health and Human Sciences, and my guest today is IUPUI women's soccer sophomore midfielder, Abbie Schad. Abbie, how are you today with the season winding down?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just great. I'm doing about as good as I can. A month of basketball is what I've been dealing with, but I've been hearing a lot about women's soccer. So
Yeah.
you got to tell me, I'll just go ahead and just jump right in, right? You got to tell me, you're from Grafton, Wisconsin.
hmm
So you have to tell me what brought you to IUPUI.
So I was first seen by Coach Johnson here in Indianapolis when I came down here when I played for club and stuff. So that's what really drew me to IUPUI is when I would come down here for club tournaments and stuff. And I've been downtown plenty of times throughout those times. So yeah, I just really enjoyed being down here.
So tell us a little bit about the recruiting process for you, right? You
Mhm.
play club, you come down to Indianapolis for certain games, right? Certain tournaments or showcases, what have you. So what about that process? Walk us through the process a little bit of what coach did to I guess get you here.
um, well, I'd been interested in IUPUI before. I had never reached out myself, but I had teammates who had talked about coming here and stuff, and we all talked about certain schools a lot. So, I was like familiar with it, and he happened to be at Grand Park here in Indianapolis when I was playing an MRL game, and that was the first time he had really seen me, and he had talked to my club coach and stuff. So he had come out to some more games after that to watch me. And later on, I accepted an offer here. So it was it was a little different from everybody's recruiting process is different. So some people reach out to coaches to get them there. He just happened to be, they're recruiting for any games possibly, just looking for players. So I was lucky in that regard. So yeah.
So you said you had talked to some teammates about IUPUI, right?
Mhm.
Who did you have anybody that came here? Was it anybody? I mean, what's your line of thinking there, right? Teammates?
Nobody from my club team ended up coming here as well, but we had definitely just talked about like schools in the area that would possibly be there. So that was kind of more like the line of it. And we just had talked about IUPUI a little bit, and that was really all it was.
Was it more about Indianapolis or the area that kind of was like, oh, well, yeah, I want to go there? Or is that what you guys talked about?
Yeah, it was more about the area for sure. I definitely love like the downtown aspect. I'm not really someone who likes campus towns or like college towns. I was always drawn to like cities. So yeah, that was just my main train of thought.
So what made you want to be in a city campus, like an urban setting? I'm not sure where Grafton is,
Mhm.
but I mean, what would attract you to that urban environment?
So Grafton's more of like a small town. It's like 25 minutes north of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So for things to do, me and my friends would always go to downtown Milwaukee and stuff. So that was more like something I enjoyed being around and like was interested in living in. So I think definitely growing up around a city almost, but more like outside of a city, like drew me to be want to be more like inside of a city. So yeah, so when I found out IUPUI was right downtown Indianapolis, I was like, that's amazing. So
That's the place you wanted to go, right?
yeah.
Okay, so what's your major? I don't know what your major is. So,
I'm a nursing major. So last year I came in here as a bio major and took a lot of bio and chem classes and realized once the pandemic hit, it just wasn't something like I was really interested in doing like later on. Med school is not something I was 100% about at the time. So after I went home and was able to like connect with my family about certain things that I wanted to do, post soccer and post college, I guess I just realized that like nursing was the route I wanted to take.
what about that? I would not have anticipated anyone wanting to jump into that field right now,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
But was it something that you're just now saying I'm drawn to? Tell us that thought process a little bit.
So before coming to IUPUI, I wanted to do nursing, but I was so set on possibly doing, sports medicine and going into med school after. So I was really set on and just wanted to get myself prepared for that. And then, after coming home and just having so much respect for so many like frontline workers and healthcare workers, it was just something I was like, this is something I want to jump into right away. Most people with COVID wouldn't be like, oh, I want to go be a nurse right now. But it was just something that triggered me. And my mom is a nurse. She's a DNP. So she has her doctorate in nursing. So she definitely was able to help me through that thought process of what I wanted to do and how to change, my major and stuff. So I've been taking like pre-nursing courses the last year, and I recently applied to the nursing school and will know by May. So crossing my fingers. Yeah. So I'm really
That's great.
excited about that.
That's great. You would think, and I'm glad that you mentioned it. You would think that that people would kind of be nervous about going into that field like right now, but
Mhm.
instead, it's kind of inspired people, I guess,
Yeah.
to kind of go after that. I guess during this, I guess, weird time. I don't know how you
Yeah.
want to say it. So
Mhm.
that's pretty cool. Well, good for you. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Okay, so speaking of the pandemic, we've all been impacted by it, right? And
Mhm.
all the conditions we've been living under, and things are starting to get a little bit more normal. I guess
Mhm.
I think we're still a pretty good a ways away from it, but
Mhm.
it's getting more normal. So, how has that affected you personally, and what types of things have you done, I guess, to deal with the changes to your normal life?
Mhm. So when we first were told to go into lockdown, it was definitely crazy. And I'm sure everyone thought, like, oh, it's only going to be like 2 weeks or a month and we'll be back to normal. And now, fast forward a year, we're here and still dealing with the things. I think it's definitely hard on like a lot of people. Obviously people have like died and it's just been horrible. Um, so a lot of people have dealt with it like physically, but I think something that we're not talking about as much is how it's, impacting people mentally. And personally, it's just definitely been a hard year to, like I'm just so used to just getting out there and like meeting new people and being an extrovert, and just I've been an outgoing person my whole life. So being having to like sit inside and stuff has just been really hard on me and my roommates. So um dealing with it, I think we just help each other through it. And when I was back home, like me and my family did as much as we could together as a family to try and spend as much time with each other, take advantage of the time that we're getting with each other. I think that was like the silver lining of it all, was being able to come home after my freshman year and being able to be with my two sisters and my mom and my dad and stuff, and getting that time I had missed since I was at school. So I guess that's more how I've been dealing with it.
So how did you transition? It was a difficult transition for all students. I couldn't imagine being a first year. So you get to spring of last year, March, wham, we are sent home, right?
Mhm.
What is rolling through your head at that point, and how did you adjust so fast to complete that first year and
Mhm.
still, for lack of a better term, kind of keep your sanity?
Mhm. So just coming in like alone as a freshman playing Division 1 soccer was hard as it was. And, going through that first season was awesome. And then having to go home, I was like, well, I guess like, this is happening right now, but I'll be back in the fall and we'll be able to play a season then and everything will be better. And then we find out that it wasn't. And so um I guess it was hard to adjust, especially academically, like just going all online. It was definitely hard for me being in, like harder classes that I did do better in when I was able to, see people in person and ask for help. So that part I definitely struggled with adjusting to online school. And I think I'm still adjusting to it. I'm excited for us to go back in person hopefully soon enough. But um being like a science major and stuff, it's definitely hard just to adjust that way.
Have you had any resources that you've had to take advantage of that IUPUI offers that maybe you wouldn't normally if you were face to face?
Yeah, so we do have like mentors for, certain classes. Like right now I'm in physio and I have two teammates that are mentors for that class. So it's been very helpful. I get to, go to study sessions with them. And even when we're on the road for games, I have like tutors almost along with me. So it's definitely been nice to have that, especially. So,
That's great. That's
mhm,
great. That's great to hear. All right. So you talked about not having a fall season.
mhm,
How has it been for you? And I guess for your teammates, I don't know if you can speak for your teammates, but
mhm,
mostly for you, how has it been to refocus yourself, right? From this training regimen that you do during the summer to get ready for the fall. And now you find out you don't have a fall season.
mhm,
The training, you're either you trained or you didn't in the pandemic, right? During the worst time of the pandemic. And now you know that you've got a spring season and now you're refocusing. How was that? Right? You lose the fall season. What's been the most different about having it in the spring and like, even just your the way you get ready for it?
uh-huh. So even with the pandemic and stuff, like I was still preparing to have a fall season, running, working out, like playing as much soccer as possible, even though there weren't really any summer leagues for us to do. So not like finding out that we weren't going to have one was definitely hard. I was like, I feel like I've worked so hard to get ready and then it's taken away. And then, it's like kind of a back and forth for a while there. But once we, went through our fall training and stuff, like I think it was just more of a build up to get ready for other things. We had been waiting so long to play and stuff. And by the time spring came and we found out we were going to have a season, it just made everyone more excited and more ready to get back out on the field. So, when we did find out we were going to have a spring season, the training we just ramped it all up and we were ready. We went all in, and I think we're still seeing the benefits of how we handled it. So, yeah.
So, speaking of the season, it's winding down now, right?
Mhm,
You're at the you're closing in on the end
mhm,
of what I would dub a weird year that has thrown soccer into spring and all this other stuff into uproar. You've put yourselves into a strong position, right?
mhm.
To pull out conference. What do you need to do the rest of the way to kind of close this out as best as possible? I mean, other than the obvious, win every game, right?
Yeah. I think, outside of, soccer and training and games, I think, the best thing we can do for ourselves is keep ourselves safe and, be smart about the pandemic. I know there's a vaccine and everything and people are getting vaccinated, but COVID is still here and people are definitely able to get it just as much as they were back in summer. So I think our main thing we need to do is just be smart and, like stay within our cohorts and all of that and just, keep our eye on the prize. I think we're all very excited with where we have set ourselves up at this point and, for especially for our seniors, like this is their last year. We always play for our seniors and just want to keep it going. So I think I think we're all very motivated to keep up with everything we've been doing.
So you finished this spring. I don't even know. Do you even have any? Do you guys have any notion of what is coming? Are you resetting to the fall? Do we have any idea about what's happening beyond right now?
Um, we're not 100%, but we're definitely thinking that we would just go right back into a fall season and change it back into our normal schedule, which is something I'm hoping for. Playing two back-to-back seasons, might seem a lot, but it definitely sounds, fun to get back into our normal schedule. So, yeah, I think that's what is going to end up happening. At least I'm hoping, with everything going on, that seems like that's what's going to happen. So I'm definitely excited.
So when you get done with the spring and you've got this newfound, I guess not newfound, but I guess rekindled after almost a year away with your family, what are you going to do this summer?
I definitely just want to keep up with soccer. We have like 2 months where we're not going to be playing all together as a team and, jumping back into the season. We need to stay as fit and as motivated as possible. And I think, coming off this season, it'll definitely, keep us motivated for the fall. So I'll definitely be playing some summer leagues and stuff. But other than that, just preparing for another fall season and a new team coming in and just having to, restart almost, but I'm really excited.
What about with your family? What are you gonna do when you get back home this summer? Are you gonna I mean, are you gonna hang out? What are you gonna do? I mean, I know you're gonna stay fit. I know you're gonna work out, all that stuff, but
Mhm.
you get time away from your sisters and your family, and now all of a sudden you're back. You've gone through well, for the most part, you haven't really left yet. You have, right? It's not like it's not like you're sitting in the classroom this whole year, but now you're back home, you're going back home.
Mhm.
What are you going to do this summer? I mean, just tell us.
I think, me and my family, we're all very, safe about the pandemic. So we don't plan on doing anything crazy, but definitely just staying, safe and doing what we usually did like last summer. We did a lot of stuff outside, just took advantage of the weather and stuff. So just being able to spend time with each other is what we enjoy most. Like it doesn't have to be the most fun thing ever, but we do have like Lake Michigan and stuff like right next to Milwaukee, so we usually like to go out there and stuff during the summer. So hopefully that's something we will do when I get back.
Boating and jet skiing, I assume.
Yeah.
I wish I could do more of that, right? All right. Well, thank you, Abby, for joining me today.
Mhm.
Be sure to follow IUPUI Women's Soccer at IUPUI WSOC and the Sports Management Club at IUPUI at SMC_IUPUI on Instagram for the latest episodes of Zoom In on the Jags and On the Spot. You all have a great rest of your day.